First seeing the yard, just seeing the row after row after row of dogs, you obviously knew it was a huge yard. It was going to be a huge dog yard.
Dogs chained to heavy log chains, tethered to dilapidated dog houses, the distinct dirt circle around each one of these dogs, just inches apart from being able to reach one another, which continuously keeps them ramped up and trying to fight with one another as they're protective of their food and their limited space. And that's done, really just to help keep these dogs in condition and to keep them aggressive towards other animals. Organized animal fighting is a felony in every state in the United States, and sadly it's really very prevalent today, much more than a lot of people realize. I mean, animal fighting goes on in many communities around the country. Sometimes it's backyard or street corner dog fighting, but most of what the ASPCA really gets involved with and pursues is organized animal fighting, which is not only one of the most heinous forms of animal cruelty, but it's also associated with a lot of other criminal activity, and the people involved in illegal dog fighting are oftentimes very dangerous criminals. The ASPCA is committed to putting an end to dog fighting because it really is one of the most horrendous forms of animal cruelty. These dogs are put into a pit and forced to fight one another, really for their survival. These fights often last an hour, sometimes can go as long as 2 hours. Dogs are maimed and mauled and serious medical injuries, and oftentimes don't survive the fights. And if they do survive the fights, sometimes they don't survive the damage that has been done.
A lot of dog fighters believe it's a cultural thing. Some of them even equate it to hunting. It's like a privilege or a right they have to actually hunt their dogs and to fight their dogs. They'll tell you that the pit bull has been bred to fight, and that's what it loves to do. And the dog fighters use that in justifying putting them in the pit and fighting each other.
Release the dog! Wait a minute, wait a Look at him trying to get out of the jump in the pit. Jump in the pit. Feel that shit. Nah, y'all gotta let him do that. Pick him up, man. Pick him up.
August 23rd was the date of the seizure, but this had been an investigation that we were engaged in for a little more than 2 years, and had been planning for months.
Once the scene is made safe by law enforcement, search warrant has been served, then they'll ask us in to handle the animals. We have animal handlers, we have forensic veterinarians that are there to examine the animals right away. We have a forensic team that's there to seize the evidence, a lot of times that's used to train the animals or treat the animals, right up to the handlers when they're brought off the yards themselves and into transport vehicles and transported usually to a temporary shelter, and in this case it was a temporary shelter.
Sure feels a lot better, buddy, doesn't it?
Every dog reacts a little bit different. There are always a lot of dogs that are fearful. Keep in mind, many of these dogs have never had a loving hand. The encounters they've had with humans in the past are feeding, watering, cleaning, and then pulling these dogs off to really prepare them for the fight. So there certainly are dogs that are fearful of humans, but overwhelmingly what we see is a very friendly and excited and loving reaction from these dogs, which has always been amazing to me, and I think really speaks to the breed, that they can go through all of this torture, but yet still be loving and trusting of humans. You ready to get out of here? Come on. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Who's that? Who is that? Is that your baby? Is that your baby? Oh, you just want some attention, don't you? You just want some attention.
You see all the scarring from fighting.
This particular dog fighter even had the 3 and 4 month old puppies out on chains already, getting them used to that activity, getting them used to seeing their adult dogs on a chain and being aggressive, getting used to that environment, that dog fighting environment, which they were destined at that time to live their life throughout a chain, except when they're taken off to fight or train.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Huh? How's that feel? How's that feel, huh? That real good.
We usually house the dogs away from the area where they were seized because those dogs are valuable to the dog fighters. And we know of cases where dog fighters have broken into shelters, rescues, and got their dogs back. Because again, they're to that dog fighter, they're of value. People involved in dog fighting come from all walks of life. We've investigated and arrested school teachers, high school football coaches, veterinarians, vet techs. It transcends all racial boundaries. There's no stereotype, if you will.
There are, thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars involved in illegal animal fighting ventures, whether that be from the gambling, from the breeding. It's big money, which draws in a lot of different types of individuals.
Getting that champion dog, the dog that's won 3 fights, producing puppies off that dog, which are going to be, cost, up to thousands of dollars for a puppy.
Once they're in our ASPCA shelter, then it's a team of medical professionals, examining and treating whatever medical issues exist. These medical conditions and the poor body condition is just neglect. It's a lack of, proper care for these animals, mainly because these animals are, these dogs are a product. And, as we see oftentimes in puppy mills, there's not going to be an investment in this animal's well-being or happiness, because the intent really is just to use the dog to fight and to hopefully make money for you, but they're always discarded at the end. A lot of the dogs that are associated with organized dog fighting, these are dogs that are bred and trained, to be aggressive to other animals, and sometimes are not safe to place in a home. But beyond that, we see dogs that just are lacking any social skills. And as we begin working with them, in our shelters, and really trying to prepare them for the next chapter in our life, we begin to really see how remarkable many of these dogs are. Some of the behaviors, behavior challenges that they have, these dogs are able to pick those things up rather quickly and really improve in their behaviors and get prepared to become placeable pets and members of the family.
You're such a cute little boy, aren't you?
It's everywhere. The dog fighting is everywhere. The sheer number of dogs and the places that we seize dogs from, a lot of times they'll have a number of dogs in their house and the neighbors don't even know it. That's kind of like this case. This case turned out to be, again, a huge number of dogs. From the initial 367, the number's grown now to over 400.
Something this brutal and barbaric should not continue to go on in this country. And that's why we're so driven at the ASPCA to really put an end to it.
On a daily basis, we get a picture back of a dog that's made it, to its adopted home, and you might see a particular dog that was emaciated, and you hold the two pictures up. Later on, you can't hardly tell it's the same dog. It makes you feel great to be a part of such a grand scheme. At least these dogs here will not have to live the rest of their lives on a chain.
The opportunity to really intercede and change the fate of thousands of animals is right in front of us, and I'm excited that we've been able to do that on a number of cases in the past, and look forward to continuing to do that on many, many cases in the future.
To help dogs that have seen so much suffering and have such a long way to go, and witnessing that transformation and seeing the joy in them is what we live for.
And he's completely seems to have forgotten about everything that happened, which is more than we could really ask for.
When I first found out that he was in that type of situation, I gave him an instant hug. I told myself, like, I would never let anyone do that to him again.